CKGSB, China's only not-for-profit independent business school.
The company has a very long history in this market, but in the modern era we have just celebrated our 50th anniversary. And that 50th anniversary marked the occasion when in 1963 we sold Dart engines to the Chinese civil aviation authorities. And I think it was a significant milestone because from that very small beginning, just a few aircraft with Dart engines on them, Vickers-Viscount aircraft, right from the beginning we saw that the experience was not just about the sale of some equipment, it also involved the exchange of people, know-how, and the forming of some relationships. So in those early days, along with the sale of those aircraft with Rolls-Royce engines, there were pilots and technicians who came from China in 1963 to Derby for training and familiarization. So from that very small beginning, I think we've seen a constant evolution, and that evolution has gathered pace particularly in the period since the 1990s, as domestic travel has blossomed within China and increasingly as more international markets become available for mass Chinese travel too. This is quite a recent phenomenon. And so the growth from the 1990s through till now has been exceptional. And if you look at our forecasts or CAAC's forecasts or Boeing or Airbus, it's a pretty consistent picture that in the period from now through till 2031-32, we're talking about 5,000 additional civil aircraft entering this market, and China going from being the world's second largest aviation market to probably becoming the largest in a comparable time frame. There has been a great deal of latent demand for air transport in China and connecting China with the rest of the world. And the infrastructure and the people support systems and the regulatory environment have been running to catch up, or in some cases are bottlenecks and impediments to growth. So if one thinks about it, the sheer nature of demand here, and you think about the challenge that imposes on the aviation regulator and the airlines, simply in terms of finding sufficient people who are trained and qualified to perform the roles that they need to perform, this is a major challenge. And one of the reasons why over the years we have worked to ensure that we are collaborating closely with CAAC, the Civil Aviation Authority, and helping to provide training to equip the next generation of managers in Chinese civil aviation. And in the 18 years that we've been doing this, we've trained over 1,000 technicians and over 800 management personnel, equipping them, we hope, with essential skills to help manage this growth period. Clearly there are other elements that are also constraining factors. Infrastructure, for all that China is extremely good at infrastructure and is building airports at a tremendous rate. Nevertheless, there are infrastructure limitations and there are air traffic control limitations. And when you put all of those things together, you can see a situation where the demand is there and the growth is still there, but there are certain bottlenecks and impediments that will have to be addressed for the market to realize its full potential. Clearly there is a commitment for those state-owned carriers to become world-class international players. There are already players at scale, and they're continuing a development process, and I'm sure that the ambition is that they should continue to be successful. But you're right that there is also some liberalization on the margins going on, and we have seen some fresh arrivals in terms of private carriers and increased levels of discussion around the potential for low-cost carriers in the Chinese market as well. So one thing is for sure, the market doesn't stand still, and we can expect that there will be further change, and over time one would expect further liberalization. At the moment, our core area of focus tends to be in the wide-body aircraft that are servicing the larger domestic, regional or international routes. And as yet, the private carriers, with the exception of Hainan Airlines, which is something of a special case, are tending to operate single-aisle aircraft. So at the moment, compared to the big three plus Hainan, so big four, these other players are still relatively small and focused on shorter routes and not yet perhaps our core customer base. But without doubt, there will be further change, liberalization, and one would expect an increase in the number of players across the Chinese landscape and some new business models emerging as that occurs.